Hello and welcome. It is the fifth day of March 2019. And this is the Money Charts channel, all bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. And I'm just going to quickly go over within Bitcoin because we can see on the weekly time frame just how big our move is today. You see it? You see that? This little month here? Yeah. So could it go higher this month? Look at the size of this down move. Look at the size of this green candle. Yeah, I suppose it could. I suppose it could. I realize though, getting above this level of resistance, it's probably going to look like a U-shaped formation or V-shape, a U-shaped formation, a little a sinkhole, if you will, some sort of little dug, like something you would dig in the ground and just a hole type thing. I don't know how you'd want a cup, a bowl, whatever. Well, that's an interesting pattern. Let's take a look at this on the. What time frame do you want to go with? Is it the yeah, the 4 hour? Maybe the 1 hour might be. This is this is that move that I would talk about as far as that bull shape. When you have a break of this, I know that's not a good line, but it's not. That's not the point. And really, it's this in here. If you see something like this, especially what it's doing right now, getting the upper end of its previous congestion area, well, that's pretty strong. Now the must-hold area, especially. I mean, if it can at least hold this, really, if you want to see the big move, not only do you want to see this area hold if it goes there, but you'd also want to probably see a relatively quick reversal, not spending much time in here, like was the case in here and so many other times. Getting above this level of resistance, we're talking about big green candles as we retrace. Maybe we might hit a resistance level at the 61.8, but this is all short term. I'm looking at the 4 hour. But as I look at this, it does bring an interesting situation if it's able to get above this 18 highs, a little south of the 3900 number, and in doing so, getting up to like 3912. The 3 days, this one here, yesterday and today, how it spent its time below, got up above this low really quickly on February the 27th, and this move here, which of course is creating that pattern that I've shown, which is that U-shaped formation, which again, when we look at this on the weekly chart. If it has that move up to here, that's big. But for it to get into the congestion area, it has to really get into 68, and for it to do what the shorter term chart is doing, really get above it. I know there's so many different layers of highs, but really getting up to about 8,300 would be about the same equivalency. The whole point is just because the market goes down like this doesn't mean it's going to continue to go down. And just because it goes sideways for a long time, creating a flag situation, means that it's going to continue in its trend. What it's definitely going to do at some point is break its established resistance. It could rechange it in time, but unlikely. Established resistance is 4,200. Established support is around 31 and a half. It's got to break it at one time and big, decent sized moves. Up, it's got a decent green candle move. Down, decent red colored candle move higher. 6,000 seems to be the likely area, probably piercing extra above it. What I have done is I'm trying to get as much off exchanges as possible, and a lot of my all of it rather of my TUSD and that of the USDC was on exchanges. And I'm thinking, well, the whole purpose of me doing it for this was Bitcoin that I ended up selling back in here, and Litecoin at that same time. And really, when you do that, when you put your Bitcoin or Litecoin or whatever altcoin you're looking at into the dollar, whatever price it's at is pretty much afloat. So that when you go back in the game, if you're to buy Bitcoin, say for example you sold at a double this price, and technically you were able to get back double the amount of Bitcoin that you sold. So that means the rest of the way, whatever the market is, you're kind of would be doing twice as that. So it's like, okay, I'm going to pause this thing at like 7,700, and oh, this thing just shot up to like say Well, 10x, 38,000. Well, no, mine's at 77,000 in that sense, but it remains dollars. So I decided to turn that into a little bit of silver. It's down to 15.12 against the dollar, but it's almost like buying silver in May and getting it now of last year. And this is the first time I've bought in silver since, and it's about 10 months, so that's been a little long standing. But as I'm looking at it, to me, I don't think there's really any need myself for really selling Bitcoin or any altcoins against the dollars other than a day trade at all. If I'm doing it for hedging purposes, oh, I want to sell Bitcoin or Litecoin and buy it back at a 3 or 4x move. Okay, well, that's fine. But if I'm willing to do that with the funds because they're worth so well and I can easily afford to liquidate whatever it is I'm getting rid of, I can instead liquidate it to precious metals. And I'm going to do that more aggressively going forward. So I increased my silver portfolio today by that of about, let's just calculate in my head, what would 10% be? It's lower than that. 2.4, but 2.2% maybe. I've increased my portfolio 2.5% maybe, between two, so over 2%. So it's nice. But the plan is if cryptos do really well in the future, I'll buy more. If not, I've already done well in accumulating at different times. I'm just adding a little bit more towards it. I've also added a little bit of gold, and I know exactly how much I've increased my portfolio. That's a little under 50%. And I got a decent amount of codes on here, and a lot of them are going to go, and I've already gotten rid of a lot of them. I don't know much gold at all. In fact, I'm buying more silver than I am gold. For me, the plan is to have a high accumulation of silver, but because my gold holdings are so low, I just I just couldn't tempt myself. I just had to do it. Add a little bit of gold. When the ratio comes way down, I mean, I think around 30 to 1, so I'm going to do a small sale of silver into gold. 10 to 1, I'm going to do a medium one, and then breaking down below 3 and 2, which I think it could do. Not saying that it will. And in orders, you just have a plan for what may or may not happen. But on the may does happen, or may it will happen, that is. Yeah, if it's 3 to 1, aggressively turn silver into gold. And then what I would expect and I would love to see happen is if for, to go down to like 1, 2, 3 to 1 and then shoot up to like 10 to, or 20 to 1. And then I can turn that gold back into silver. But as it stands now, I like how this chart is playing out. And we got the slide at 1239. It could very easily hit it. You know what? So be it. There's not much of a differential in price, and I'd rather buy now than wait for the little retracement and try to get what would work out to about a 2.5% discount on the price. That's just not worth it. Of course, it's a very much a long-term game. Although this is a long-term chart, when I'm doing that via the monthly, but we're talking about low volatility moves when you're talking about like the size of some of these candles we've been having recently. And the plan moving forward is the absolute minimal on exchanges. I'll have some here and there, and there's just going to be some coins that are just going to like to trade, like the Aid coin, or just a couple others here and there. No limit coin, there's a few more that I'm going to remain trading. But I don't need to have too many coins because my most aggressive trade moving forward is going to be that of Litecoin. And amongst this here, the high on February 18th week was 53.41. Right now, the tether has gotten as high as 54.11, so it has barely made that of a higher high. So I'm going to trade this against Bitcoin and against DGB and against precious metals. When it gets to 125, I'm going to buy some silver probably. Not much though, just a little bit. I was going to sell some Litecoin for dollars, TUSD, probably no USDC probably. They're both pretty much the same, I think. And that's just a code on the cryptos to use as pretending to be dollars. But the amount of silver and gold I can get, I'm not going to get gold, but I mean, I just bought some, and I don't think I have a need to get some until I want to make a larger purchase, or the ratio tells me I have to. And there's two ratios. The ratio of what I have, because my gold to silver ratio is extremely large. We're talking to probably well over 1,000 to 1, several thousand, few thousand to 1. Um, that's how many ounces of silver versus how many ounces of gold I got. Then the real ratio of like 83 as far as price. But at 125, it's probably the time to accumulate a little bit of silver, and again, a little bit. Minimum order for me is $500, Canadian even. So I could be talking about like 3.2 or 3.3 Litecoin, and I can grab myself $500 worth of silver. I could even sell some DGB when it gets big, because I'll get to that one in a second. But selling up here at around the 260, that would be like a medium sized buy. Oh, I bought for like five or six, $700 worth here. Maybe I'll buy a couple grand worth here because I can easily afford to do it. And then when the prices get higher than that, then it gets really fun. For DGB, this is a coin in dollar terms, and I haven't shown this in like forever or a long time. If I would have at some point probably, but it's 1.1789 cents, 1.2 almost. It was 4/5 of a cent before, just recently here. Up top I see a dime, and this is the weekly chart. This is 2018. What was, okay, so that's the high. Bottom end of this range. And in chart analysis, and this is now the monthly, finding support here, breaking this level, now twice hit resistance between 7 cents and 13 cents. This could easily become a dollar coin. How crazy would it be? Well, how crazy was it to go from here to here? I mean, this was just a wild move. So that's one. Yeah, this could easily portray, because if it just matches this level of resistance, this is 6.7, this is 13.9. That's pretty much a 20x move. And a 10x move from this is 139 on a break of resistance, or $1.39. It's like about a 7x move. And if I look at prices even just in that point, even just at 8 cents, I realize that, okay, well, what I have is worth that much higher, and I probably would not want to sell too many of them, but maybe a little bit, because I realize the big gains are the potential breaking above it. If you think Bitcoin's going to go up, this is just going to go up with Bitcoin. It's just going to go up and down in higher volatile moves. Bitcoin going from, say, well, right now, its bottom is 3150. But if it manages to have a good break of its previous $20,000 resistance, and go north of 60,000, like 65 or something, a 20x move from its 3,100 low. So it'll be 62,500 or 63,000. Well, will this have a 20x move? And go, the 10x would be that of 8 cents, so 16 cents. No, I think it would be about $1.60 maybe, or $1.20, or $4. So in playing the strategy of holding DGB and LTC together, not only am I trying to increase both my DGB and LTC back and forth by when they go up and down at its own times, trading them together, but also given the opportunity for much larger size gains than I would be holding that of Bitcoin, which of course I'm still going to be holding. and just have ready to be able to do whatever I need to do with it. Use it mainly for even for as money as it is, but just always have it available. Just have a bunch of Bitcoin in there that's like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with that little bit there, and that's good. And that's a good thing to have because, uh, well, it's just a good thing. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. As I just continue my update, really, again, getting as little of it off the exchange. There's one quick thing I wanted to point out, a coin that I talked about before that I don't really want to talk about again unless there's reason to do so. And that's Namecoin. It's currently trading at about 16,400 Satoshi against Bitcoin. And it's available on the Trezor wallet. And it's only trading on Poloniex. And as I think about it, the reason why I hold like your DGB, your Dash, your Doji, your Litecoin, and all that stuff on those wallets is if the exchange happens to go down, and in this case Namecoin, then that what are you going to do with them now? I mean, yeah, they could stay there, and maybe some other exchange will pick it up. But I just don't want to hold anything of this nature. With that being said, when you have these kinds of moves, and I almost would have been active trading this because back in here, like on this day here and this day, like before this happened, I had a buy order barely above the 10 number. What was the low in here? It was exactly that. The low was 10. I would have bought right at that low pretty much, 10,020 or whatever. It would have been just a hair above. And it really was like a couple days beforehand, and I pulled the order. It was for a few $100s worth in Bitcoin. And then to have this, what would I have done had I bought? I probably would have sold about 20%, maybe 20%, 25% of what I bought. Put buy orders below. None of them would have hit yet, of course, because I probably would have sold them at around 14.5, 14.6, pretty quick after I bought it, and the buy orders would come in, and the buy orders would be in, and nothing would hit. Then I put sell orders in, and yeah, I'd be selling up in here. If I were to have a last sale at 14.6, we're talking about 16.4, 16 or to 17, and well, this high is 17.488, so I probably would have had a sell order hit, which means you're going to probably have purchased it around the 15 handle and 14. Maybe I might have barely missed it and I might have put the low in at 14. So I either would have, I might have missed this low, but still, when you have moves like this and the previous ones, first, for example, just having steady increases like this, when you're buying low and then now you're selling gradually around here. You're probably missing this buy in here. Yeah, you'd be buying some in here. Your upper sales in here would turn into buy fills here, which you could then sell when it comes back to this high, and so on and so forth. But there's been, I mean, you see some of these days in here, this one and this one, where you get some sell order fills. So I really do want to trade it. It's just that one, it is in a steady downtrend, and if this is a true horrible coin or what they call a shit coin, basically, there's a risk of it going down all at any time, and you limit your gains when you buy low, sell high in a market that's going to make lower highs and lower lows, because you're going to do better in an uptrend than you're going to do in a downtrend. And I'm more confident with coins like DGB, Vercoin, and Litecoin will have an uptrend compared to this. So I'm not playing any of it at all. I really wanted to, and I like it, but I'm not playing it. Coins like Komodo, yeah, I'm gonna still play that, and Theta, almost certainly. I'm still gonna have funds in exchanges, and I'm gonna want to have buy orders and sell orders ready to go. I'm gonna want to be able. And the thing about Theta is, this is what's really, really, really sucks about this. On Binance, the withdrawal is 28 coins. which is like super expensive. Right now it's like 80,000 Satoshi, closer to 100. That is expensive. And that was what the price was back in here. No, 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 back in here rather. I wrote February 22nd, 23rd. And when I'm thinking about my strategy of getting coins, like just making small trades and then having coins go in and out of exchanges for such, I don't get too excited about buying like, oh, let's buy 1,500 of them and then find out I have to pay 2%. That doesn't. But you know what, though? That's so be it. I'm going to. I've done well having coins on exchanges in the past. It's just what's the minimal amount that I can have to really fully trade how I want to. And I've always only wanted to trade just a small amount of things. So limiting into about 10 different trades, 11 or 12, that I think is a good way to go. And just play them more aggressively. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.